National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024. This is by the Honorable Naisula Lesuda, and I can see she's already here, ready to prosecute. There is nothing for you to say at this point, Honorable Lesuda, so just take your seat.
Clause 3.
I propose the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. Now, Honorable Lesuda, you may now proceed. You have an amendment.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 3 of the bill be amended as shown on the order paper.
Do you like to give a justification?
Yes, Honorable Chairperson. The amendment is to confer upon the Kenya National Highways Authority the function of designing and constructing designated tracks for non-motorized transport with appropriate signage, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Any interest in this? There be no interest. I now put the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, if you want to participate in this bill, please hit the intervention button.
Clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. Honorable Lesuda.
Clause 4. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 4 of the bill be amended as shown on the order paper. Madam Chairperson, this amendment is to confer upon the Kenya Rural Roads Authority the function of designing and constructing designated tracks for non-motorized transport with appropriate signage. Madam Chairperson, it's just being specific with the authorities that are supposed to, that have a mandate to do the roads. So the other one was the Kenya Highways Authority, and now we're giving also the powers to Kenya Rural Roads Authority.
I propose the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. The Honorable Marianne Keitani, member for Aldai.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it is important that road signages be put on roads, and these designations are very important because nowadays as you travel, you drive, you'll find a bump is here and there is no signage, there is no indication that there is a bump, and that is what has caused so many accidents. So if this mandate is clearly spelled out for both all the road agencies, that then becomes very good because it will ensure that traffic is properly ensured on the roads. Thank you.
The Honorable Dorothy Kiara, nominated member.
Thank you, Chair. I support the amendment by Honorable Lesuda.
Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 4 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 5. We have amendments.
I propose the question that clause 5 be part of the bill. I will start with the amendment by the Honorable Naisula.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 5 of the bill be amended as shown on the order paper, and the amendment is to confer upon the Kenya Urban Roads Authority the function of designing and constructing designated tracks for non-motorized transport with appropriate signages. So that was Kenya Highways, then Kera, and now Kura, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Naisula. Honorable Chair, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
1 minute, please take your seat first. Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Now, Chair, you may proceed.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 5.
I was asking you if you may make a comment on the proposed amendment by the Honorable Lesuda, because you realize that they are the same. So if hers is accepted, then yours will fall. So you may proceed to make comments on the Honorable Lesuda's.
I have put it in a better version without changing anything, but just to ensure that the amendment provides a proper numbering to the bill, where we propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 5 and substituting, therefore, the following new clause. Section 10, subsection 2 of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 2 by inserting the following new paragraph immediately after paragraph A. Designing and constructing designated tracks for non-motorized transport for existing roads and new roads under its control, including cycling lanes and pedestrian walkways, which shall be separated from tracks for motorized transport. This is basically just to, and that the bill also be amended by inserting the following new clause immediately after clause 5, that the Principal Act is amended by inserting the following new section immediately after section 2, which is above 11A.
Chair, Vice Chair, I noticed that you are going outside this amendment. You notice that before we go to you, Honorable Pokose, the amendment by the Honorable Lesuda is exactly as your amendment is. Look at clause 5A, new clause 5A, no, clause 5, part AA, and go to Honorable Lesuda's, page 2144, you realize it's the same. So I wanted you to make a comment on hers so that we make a decision on hers first.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I've realized they are very similar, and I therefore drop mine and support the amendment suggested by the Honorable Naisula.
Thank you very much, Chair. The Honorable Dorothy, you have interest in this? You have interest? Oh, yes, for Majority Leader, the Honorable Bayer first. Honorable Bayer takes precedence. Honorable Ikiara, I'll come to you.
Thank you. I think the amendment that is being proposed by the Honorable Lesuda is a good amendment. And I just want to tell my brother that if Lesuda is discarded, yours falls. So you don't have to belabor the point. But what I want to say this, it's very beautiful, this amendment, and I think we need it to move the country forward. If you go to more modern cities, this is what you see. A cyclist lane, a pedestrian walkway, and even for people that need to be assisted, you know, we have those kind of walks. But Honorable Lesuda, you need also to move forward and not just say what the authority needs to do. Probably you may need to look at, yes, so how do we do it? Do we compel Treasury to make sure funds, or when funds are set aside for a road, I thought that would, that funds also be set aside for the construction of this and this and this and this. Because leaving it this way, yes, the law compels them to do it, but they may not, they may cite lack of funds, lack of many things, you know, and avoid to do this. Otherwise, our cities need to be modern, our towns need to be modern, and to modernize a town is to provide good road networks. And good road networks in Kenya must now be defined: a track for motorized, a track for non-motorized, a track for cyclists, a track. That's what a good road and a good town should be, and therefore I support Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Ikiara.
Chair, I quite agree with what the Deputy Majority Leader said. We should ensure that we provide money for these amenities. Otherwise, even if we put them there, and we don't facilitate the same, it will be an exercise in futility. But I support the amendment by Honorable Naisuda.
Thank you, honorable members. I now put the question, which is that clause 5 be amended as proposed by the honorable Lesuda. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now that I now put the question, which is that clause 5 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So, honorable members, now that the honorable Naisula's amendment has been carried, the one for the committee falls. In any case, the chair agrees with the honorable Lesuda, so no problem. I now put the question, which is that clause 5 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I propose the question that clause 6 be part of the bill. The honorable Lesuda.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 6 of the bill be amended as shown on the order paper. And the amendment is to require the various road agencies to cooperate with the county governments in realizing the construction, signage, and safe use of non-motorized transport facilities. Additionally, Madam Chairperson, the amendment corrects a typographical and numbering error occasioned during the publication of the bill.
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 6 as amended be honorable members, I take that again. I propose the question, which is that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the honorable Lesuda. The honorable Julius Meli, member for Tinderet.
Yes, I think this is a very important amendment, Madam Chair, because previously county governments are the owners of the lands where most of these roads pass. And more importantly, the pedestrians and the cyclists who are often to be victims of road accidents actually reside within those counties. And therefore, by providing for them in this bill, it is going to actually enhance safety and more importantly also, reduce conflict by bringing in the county government in the decision making on where the roads are. I support what Honorable Nesula said, yes.
I would have wanted the chair to make a comment on this because you also have an amendment on this. But I want to explain to you that the only difference between your amendment and the one by the Honorable Lesuda is that Honorable Lesuda has used the word consult with the county governments, and the chairman or the committee has used the word consult with the county governments. And Honorable Lesuda has used the word cooperate. So as you comment, please bear that in mind. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to support these amendments. They are very good amendments, and the difference in the wordings don't make, they are all similar. So I also wish to drop the committee's proposed amendments so that we support what Honorable Nisula has proposed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I do not see any other interest in this, so I'll go ahead and put the question. I now put the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 6 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So now that the Honorable Lesuda's amendment has been carried, the one for the committee falls.
Clause 7.
I propose the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. Honorable Lesuda.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 7 of the bill be amended as shown on the order paper. And the reason for this is to require the Cabinet Secretary to make additional regulations on design and construction of non-motorized transport lanes, which will ensure efficiency, uniformity of design and standards for support facilities, the use of green infrastructure and environmental protection. We have seen a lot of trees being cut down and trees not being planted after when roads are being constructed. Then there's promotion of innovation and strict use of lanes designated for pedestrians and cyclists so that we don't have vehicles coming to the lanes. And lastly, the safety of the users of non-motorized transport facilities, Madam Chairperson.
I propose the question. Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Yes, the Honorable Charles Ngusianguna, CNN.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to support this clause 7 as proposed by Honorable Naisula, especially on the issues of green infrastructure. I recall one of our Member of Parliament, KJ, brought this issue of green infrastructure. Most of our roads which have been done, they don't have even trees planted along, and it is very important to green our country because it is important, the carbon emission we are experiencing at the moment we need a lot of trees across so that at least things can be good. And even when you are driving along the road with trees, you feel good, and it is very important to do it. So, Madam Speaker, I support.
Yes, go ahead. The Honorable Baya.
Thank you. Happy to contribute to this, Chair. Chair, I take exceptional cognizance of E, the use of green infrastructure and environmental protection. And I want to say the following two things, Chair. One, I support you. I can see you're being apprehensive. I support you. Listen, I support this. But I just want to say this. One, the use of green infrastructure. I have seen in many roads today where counties and even national government put solar lights, which is part of the green energy. But then, how many years do these solar lights stay on the road? So 5 years, max. Then they don't work anymore. So the next government comes also puts another post next to it. So you have now 2 posts. The next one comes and puts another one. So our roads now are littered. I want actually to deliberate to use the word littered because of the green energy thing. Littered with posts. And these lights don't work. So you have a lot of dirt. It's not neat anymore on those roads. So when you are talking about green infrastructure, I think we need to rethink about the solar energy on our roads. They either last 30 years, and if they cannot last 30 years, we should not put them on. I have seen the roads. I have a small town called Watamu. If you go to that town, you will not want this to be done. Because every regime is putting a solar lamp. Kenya Power also has its own lines, and therefore it is littered. The second one is on the same E. Environmental protection, and I like the way that we want trees. Very well. But what does KPLC do? What do they do? We have planted so many trees to create nice boulevards so that we have greenery in the town and to bring in some green. But when that tree grows closer to those power lines, Kenya Power comes without notice, without regard to anything. They just come and cut them, all of them, and they leave the town bare. So we either need to find a pattern of development on the road. We put the green energy lines, if it's solar or whatever, where trees should be planted, and where Kenya Power lines should be, in such a way that it is neat, so that Kenya Power does not destroy the effort of many young people who stay on the scorched sun to actually plant trees. Municipalities spend a lot of money to water those trees. And then Kenya Power wakes up and comes and I want to tell Kenya Power from the floor of this house, they should stop that. Just cutting trees anyhow, without notice, without anything. Even Kenya Power does not even plant one tree, and yet they need trees for them to get posts to erect power lines. We need to find a balance on our roads, especially on this issue. I support Honorable Chair, but I don't know how this will be put in this law so that we have a law to stop Kenya Power from cutting trees on the road. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we have an amendment by the chair, and I would like to give details on how the amendment is. Honorable members, if you go to our order paper, number 2145, you will see the amendments that have been done by the Honorable Lesuda, very clearly stipulated. And the amendment by the committee focuses on E, that is the use of green infrastructure and environmental protection, which is already in Honorable Lesuda's amendment. So, Chair, if you may make a comment bearing that in mind, we'll be able to make progress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to support the amendments by Honorable Naisula because they are similar. And I just want to react briefly on what Honorable Owen Bayer has said by saying the following. Number one, these trees that are planted are very important for environmental protection. Now, we cannot put in this law the type of trees to be planted and where. It is the responsibility of the road agency not to plant those trees under the power lines. So we are not going to put in the legislation here that you have to plant. It's common sense, Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, that they will plant where the power line passes. Then they should plant shrubs that don't go beyond the power lines, because also the power line must be protected. So we are not going to prescribe which type of trees to be planted and where. So those who will be planting, if the power line runs there, then they should not plant the trees under the power line. So this is in order. Number two, Madam Chair, is that we cannot discourage this country in enhancing solar energy, green energy, Madam Speaker. We just need to tell the agencies that they must have a maintenance plan so that we have these solar plants maintained, so that we avoid over-reliance on electricity which is not clean, is a bit dirty. So, Honorable Owen Bayer, I think the other agencies should be able to pick it up from where Legisla has done to ensure that they don't go to erect another solar light where the existing one exists. They should just repair and have a maintenance plan. But the green energy, the solar is the way to go, Madam Chair, and I wish to drop the committee's amendments and support the amendments by Honorable Naisula.
Before we go to the Honorable Lesuda, again, I can see she wants to make a comment. The Honorable CNN.
Yeah, Chair,
yes.
Just as suggested by Honorable Owen Bayer, it is very important to note that solar energy is the way to go. It is clean, it is very important. We have plenty of sun in our country, and what we need is just proper coordination of counties and national governments to ensure the lights are maintained in a proper way. It doesn't have to last for 30 years, but maintenance can even make the lights last for longer. So, Madam Chair, I support this.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Owen Bayer.
You know the Honorable Didmas Parasa is my friend, and I like him, and I like his cap. Although it's unparliamentary, but we have allowed him to wear it in the house. But I want to say this. You know, Kenya Power needs to have a program. The more trees they cut, the more they must plant. They cannot just come and, if this tree is on the wrong place, fine, because it will interfere with the power, they can cut it. But then they also need to give a plan on how to plant more trees. They just don't destroy what is. Secondly, I like the argument by Didmas Baraza here that, you see, we plant shrubs. That's okay. And I have no argument against planting shrubs. But sometimes Kenya Power comes and puts a power line where trees are already growing. And yet they have designers. And these designers design on where the line should pass. And they deliberately pass the line under trees. I'm very passionate about environment, very passionate. Even when we want to enjoy power, we must also protect the environment. So I don't know how Naisula you'll put it, But probably you need to put it in the regulations, that the cabinet secretary in charge of energy should put a regulation on the issues of balancing power and the environment, so that we don't have one agency destroying the environment and another one trying to protect the environment. I thank you, Honorable Lesuda.
Thank you. Yes, you will, Honorable Lesuda. I want you to be the last on this after the Honorable Julius Meli. However, before we get to the Honorable Julius Meli, we have guests in our public gallery this morning. The Africa Goal Organization from Embakasi West Constituency, Nairobi County. You are welcome to the National Assembly to continue observing proceedings of the House. The Honorable Julius Meli.
Thank you, Chair. I think the amendment is in order, and I want to laud what the Chair of the committee has just indicated, that trees and environmental protection is part and parcel of any construction progress in this country. And the fact that before even the Kenya Power Lighting people put their poles, they do what we call way leaf signing. So they need to know that we have trees, and if they are going to cut, it will be one amongst many. They are not going to cut everything. So therefore, this is not going to stop the contractors and the construction of roads by maintaining environment and keeping it safe and making the place better and conducive for living. It is wrong for our society not to have trees growing, and it is very important for our health and environment. I support.
Thank you very much, Chair. The Honorable Lesuda, you can be the last one on this.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Listening to my colleagues, I believe we are all saying the same thing. We are agreeing that green infrastructure is very important, and the protection of the environment. We all remember how Wayakiwe was when the late Thuo, he was called Gakuo. And you remember how the trees were, and it was beautiful even just driving there. But now when you use that Wayakiwe, there are no trees at all. So I think because in the amendment, the cabinet secretary will make additional regulations. I'll be very keen when the regulations are coming to see that the issues of Kenya Power in the regulations, the issues of those solar lights, because it also talks about promotion of innovation. We also need to be innovative on how we put the green infrastructure. And so during the time for regulations, I'll be very keen to see what the CS will be bringing, because it has to come to this House. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 7 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, now that the Honorable Lesuda's amendment is carried, the one by the chair or the committee falls.
Clause 8.
I propose the question that clause 8 be part of the bill. Honorable Lesuda, you have an amendment.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 8 of the bill be amended as shown on the order paper, and the justification for this amendment is to require traffic police to enforce the use of cycling lanes and pedestrian walkways, and to ensure the safety of the users of non-motorized transport lanes. The whole essence of this is that we have seen that enforcement is normally the challenge in our country. It is not the lack of laws, it is not the lack of regulations, but enforcement. And even when we travel abroad, it's not that those people also like following rules. We say they drive correctly. It is because there are penalties and because there's consequences for not following the law. And so enforcement is very important, and that is what this clause does. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Yes, the Honorable Martha Wangari, member for Gilgil.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and I want to congratulate my sister, Honorable Naisula Lesuda, who has brought this bill on this floor and reaching this stage. Madam Speaker, you'll agree that she is one of the poster girls for affirmative action. She has been nominated and elected twice, and now going for a third election, which will be successful in Samburu West. Madam Chair, I want to support this amendment and say sometimes when you drive even in Nairobi and you see what is happening, like even on our roads, you'll see a traffic offense being done maybe by a public vehicle, but the police will go for a smaller car which was on the side and harass them, but the matatu is let to go. So, Madam Speaker, the issue of enforcement, and this is even to whoever will be seeking to be re-elected or elected as a president in this country, is that we need to fix the systems. There is something that we are not doing right. We may build very good roads, we may do very well, we may build very good houses, but Madam Speaker, if we do not have rules being followed and being enforced, then all these will be doing it in vain. So I support and hope that the enforcement will be done properly and that order will be restored on our roads. And I say that, Madam Speaker, knowing that those of us who come from Nakuru, we know what kind of accidents we are witnessing every day, Madam Speaker. Families being wiped out. Just the day before yesterday, we had a very bad one in Karai. And it is just order on the road and just following rules, Madam Speaker, Madam Chair. So I support and I hope that this will be enforced in real time. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Meli, member for Tinderet first.
Madam Chair, I just want to say that the amendments by Honorable Lesuda are very important for this country, now and into the future. A number of members here, when we travel outside the country, we see the seamless flow of traffic. We see the order and even the way the roads are maintained and well taken care of, not only by the road maintenance or the agencies, but even by the road users themselves. That this bill comes in to put a sense of order by telling the police to ensure that the cyclist lane has to remain the cyclist lane. The pedestrian lane has to remain it. But if you go around this city, Madam Speaker and Chair, you'll realize that the matatu users, the motor vehicle users do not have decorum, do not even have a sense of respecting where the cyclist is, respecting where the pedestrian is. All lanes, provided it is motorable, reusable, they just use that, and there is no penalty. And this one, Madam Speaker, I want us to, as a House, to even rein in on even the respect for traffic lights, even the respect for the motorcyclist, so that the motorcyclists know that when there is time to move, it is time to move. And time to stop, it's time to stop. So, Bill, I think this is a bill that we as House, we need to put more regulations on this. And penalties be instituted to order to our cities, our towns in this country, and make them safe for our citizens. I support.
The Honorable Owen Bayer. Chair,
well, I
will
agree.
come after the Honorable Bayer.
Well, I agree with Lesuda, but I am looking at the constitutionality of this, under the constitutionality of this clause, the traffic police. But we also know that Schedule 4 of the Constitution delegates, not delegates, actually, functionally, traffic enforcement is in the hands of counties. And when you say traffic police, then I don't know what traffic, yes, Schedule 4 is very clear. Yes, is in the hands of county governments, Schedule 4 of the Constitution. Now, if we say traffic police, probably that requires an amendment or an addition. You need to put an addition so that you compel. Because if I look, Part 2 of the 4th schedule delegates traffic and parking to county governments. And I think it is very, very, I have seen in towns where police come in, but if you go to a town like Mombasa, traffic and control and all that is actually done by the county enforcement. And I don't know whether it happens here in Nairobi and other towns, but constitutionally, this could be interpreted that you have actually overreached yourselves. I think it requires an amendment.
May I say
Thank you.
Yes, I'll go first to the Honorable, the Chair, then I'll come to you, Honorable Mother Wangari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to support these amendments and say the following. Number one, the problem that we have in our country of lack of enforcement is because we have made it a way that those who are found breaking those traffic laws, they're actually inconvenienced from going about their business, something which makes them appear like they want to bribe the enforcers so they can get away with it. As it is a tradition everywhere across the world, when you commit a traffic offense, you are supposed just to be given a form prescribing the amount of money that you're supposed to pay. But you don't have to pay it immediately. You can be given even 24 hours or 12 days. Once that one is done, then there will be no form of inconvenience that will make now the police traffic, the enforcers try to assist the offender by asking for a bribe so that they can go about on their business. The second thing is that on what the Honorable Owen Baya said, we shouldn't confuse Traffic Act and what the Honorable Nesula is proposing to cure. The Traffic Act gives the traffic police officers the mandate to enforce the Traffic Act, and even it also spells out, even the County Government Act, it spells out the mandate of the county enforcement officers with regard to traffic flow. So we cannot put everything in this legislation, Madam Chair. So I support the amendments the way it is as suggested by Honorable Nesula. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So, honorable members, as we proceed, yes. So as we proceed, it is important to note that this bill concerns counties. So what the majority leader or what the Honorable Owen Baya has said is relevant. So there is no harm because it will still go to the Senate anyway, and it is indicated in the bill. I believe that the mover had looked at it and clearly on the statement on how the bill concerns county governments, it is indicated that it concerns counties. The Honorable Martha Wangari. After that, I'll put the question.
Madam Chairperson, I personally support this amendment, but I hear what Honorable Owen is talking about. If you look at Schedule 4, the county transport is a delegated function. It touches on the county roads, street lighting, traffic and parking, public road transport in the county. But Madam Chair, I feel that we still need a national law. It is very important because the way Mombasa County is handling their county transport is not the same way Nairobi is handling their county function. Just recently, Madam Chair, we saw a county official in Nairobi punishing, actually taking, the CEO in Nairobi County, punishing public offenders. Which law are they using to punish the public transport offenders? Madam Chair, I feel even if the counties have the leeway, we still need a national law that makes it uniform, that the whatever offenses will be done will be dealt with at that level. But Madam Chair, and maybe to the mover, the Constitution under Article 189 also creates a framework of how national and county governments can cooperate. And that, Madam Chair, I say because even the functions under Schedule 4, I don't know which county we have here can stand and say they have done all their county roads, they have done their controls, they have done the air pollution. Madam Chair, if we load more and more to these counties, we will end up just coming here to complain. But under 189 of the Constitution, the framework for cooperation between the two levels of government is there, but we need a national law and a national regulation to ensure that uniformity is achieved. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I support.
Let me give a chance to the Honorable Professor. Professor Phyllis Barto, member for Moiben. Professor, is your interest in this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was also supporting the amendment on enforcement, but what I wanted to say is that it is also important to inculcate virtues in Kenyans so that it is not about the police forcing people to do things. It should be natural. Just like in advanced countries, people know that this is the way for pedestrians, this is for vehicles. So I think even our schools should support in inculcating in students the virtue so that it is just a smooth society. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Naisula Lesuda.
Thank you, Chairperson. After consultation with my colleagues and having listened to Honorable Martha, we have to remain with it as it is, because the different agencies have a role to play at the national level and also the county, and there's an amendment also for the counties. I just want to also let my sister, Honorable Barto, know that people in advanced countries don't just follow rules because it's the right thing to do. There are strict and very serious penalties and consequences. If anything, theirs is instant. You get it in your house. You get the ticket. When you get home, you get the ticket. And so no one wants to get a ticket. And after you get the ticket twice or thrice, your license is revoked. And so just the normal human beings, we like to be policed. And as Kenyans, we must be policed to follow the law and to follow rules. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I now put the question, which is that I now propose the question, which is that clause 8 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 8 is amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I propose the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. Chair, the Honorable Naisula Lesuda.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 9 of the bill be deleted, and it is to delete a provision that unduly restricts the coming into force of the proposals contained in the bill. Initially, I had given a time frame, but having listened to my colleagues during the second reading, the debate, they were saying we shouldn't give a limit, that it comes into force after 10 years or 5. It could come into force immediately or, anytime. So that is what this amendment is doing. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mover. I would like the first chance to go to the chair. Both are deletions. After I propose the question, I now propose the question that clause 9 be deleted. Chair?
Madam Chair, I want to really commend the Honorable Naisula, because when she appeared before my committee, these are the concerns that we had, and I think she's very brilliant that she carried the committee's aspiration by deleting it so that this bill can come into effect immediately it is ascended to. And I want to congratulate Honorable Naisula and ask the people that brought her here to give her a third term. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I do not see any other interest in this. I propose the question that clause 8 be deleted as proposed by the Honorable. Clause 9. I propose the question that clause 9 be deleted as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clauses. New clause 5A.
The Honorable Lesuda, to move the second reading of a new clause.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that new clause 5A be now read a second time. So, Madam Chairperson, the new clause 5A seeks to require...
Let me propose the question first. I propose the question that new clause 5A be now read a second time.
Madam Chairperson, the new clause 5A seeks to require each county government to construct, designate tracks for non-motorized transport for their roads, erect appropriate signage for the designated tracks, Secondly, they're supposed to maintain and enforce the use and operations of non-motorized transport, and I think this is what Honorable Deputy Majority Leader was referring to, that the county has a very big role in ensuring there's enforcement at the county level, and also create public awareness on the safety and the use of non-motorized transport, Madam Chairperson. The whole essence is that the other amendments, we looked at the agencies, KERA, KURA, and KENHA, but we also have to task the county governments, because we know they're also doing roads, especially in the towns and the cities. We have to have uniformity, and this role is then given to the county governments, Madam Chairperson.
Chair, because you have an amendment on the same.
Yeah, we drop ours and support the one for Honorable Naisula. And it's because so we drop ours.
Thank you. I now put the question. I now put the question that new clause 5A be now read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question that new clause 5A be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 5A be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Honorable Naisula.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I beg to move that clause 2 of the bill be amended as shown on the order paper, and the justification for the amendment is to provide clear definitions of two key terms used in the bill, that is mobility assistance device and non-motorized vehicle. And this is also following during the debate, second reading, and also at the committee stage, the committee members felt that it was important to identify or to be more specific on these two key terms. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
I now propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Yes, Honorable Martha Wangari.
Honorable Chairperson, I rise to support this amendment, and specifically on the pedestrian definition, because sometimes we just assume that everyone is able to travel on foot. We have some that are on a wheelchair. It's very important for inclusivity, for PWDs to be considered in the definition. That way, they can be accorded the same treatment that would be accorded someone who is able to walk on foot. I support.
Honorable members, I now the Honorable Chair, would you like to comment on this because you also have an amendment?
We had two amendments on clause 2A and B. So we are dropping clause A, which is similar, but we will maintain the clause B, which is basically the definition of the word pedestrian, by inserting the words, or by using a mobility assistance device immediately after the words traveling on foot. This is to ensure that the amendment also expands the scope of the definition of pedestrians.
Chair, let us first of all prosecute the one by the Honorable Lesuda, then you will focus on B.
Correct.
Yes.
So for this particular one, in question, we drop ours and support the one for Honorable Naisula.
I now put the question which is that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Lesuda. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now I give an opportunity to the chair to move B, the amendment in part B.
Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that the amendments that appears on the order paper be considered to be part of the bill, which is that the definition of the word pedestrian, by inserting the words or by using a mobility assistance device immediately after the words traveling on foot. This is to ensure that the scope of the definition of pedestrian is expanded to include those persons that use mobility assistance devices, so that they're also part of the pedestrians. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I now propose the question. that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the chairman. The Honorable Lesuda.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I agree with the chairman of Transport Committee, and I support the amendment.
Thank you very much. I now put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. There be no amendment. I put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover. Go ahead and move the committee report.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Thank you. Thank you, honorable members. I put the question which is that the committee do agree with the House its consideration of the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024, and its approval with amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, we are now going to move to the next bill. Before I do that, I would like to bring to the attention of the House that we are going to defer the Breastfeeding Mothers Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2024 by the Honorable Sabina Chege. So now we go to the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 47 of 2023 by the Honorable Bernard Shinali. And I can see he is right here, ready to prosecute his bill.
Clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
I propose the question that clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I put the question that clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 be part of the bill. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20.
I propose the question which is that clauses 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I put the question that clauses 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30.
I propose the question that clauses 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I put the question that clauses 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40.
I propose a question that clauses 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 be part of the bill. There be no amendments. I put the question that clauses 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50.
I propose the question that clauses 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I now put the question that clauses 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Schedule.
I propose the question that the schedule be the schedule of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? I check that again. Honorable members, there be no amendment. I now put the question, which is that the schedule be the schedule of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. There be no amendment. I now put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. There be no amendment. I put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now call upon the mover, the Honorable Shinali.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023, and its approval thereof without amendments.
Thank you, Honorable Shinali. Honorable members, I put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023, and its approval thereof without amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Honorable members, Madam Speaker,
Chairperson. Where is the chairperson?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Roads Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024, and approved, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Mover.
Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the third report, and I also request Honorable Didmas Baraza to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Didmas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to second.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. We shall defer the putting of the question. Next, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023, and approved the same without amendments.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Gold Processing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2023. I also request Honorable Fred Ekana MP Shinyalu to second the motion.
Ekana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to second the Gold Processing Bill 2023. I second.
Very well. Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Gold Processing Bill, National Bill number 46 of 2023. Honorable members, we shall defer the third reading. Not really, not at this point, but when we move third reading, maybe we can, after the proposal for that reading. We will go to the next order and we'll rearrange it a bit. I'm told the member for Manyatta is on his way. He's a bit late, so we will start with Honorable Didmas Baraza. Are you ready? I'm ready. Yes, we'll start with order number 13. We can revert back to order number 12 at the right time. Call it out.
Order number 13, the Employment Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 62 of 2023, second reading.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Barasa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to move that the Employment Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 62 of 2023, be read a second time. Madam Speaker, the objective of this bill is to ensure that civil servants, people who are employed by government, when they are being transferred from their current station to the other, they ought to be given a notice period, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is very important because transfer of civil servants from their current station to the other must be dictated by meritocracy, and it should never be a punitive gesture, Madam Speaker. Many families are suffering because one of the spouse wakes up in the morning and they have been transferred from their current station to the other. This has since been disrupting families, Madam Speaker. A country that doesn't respect family values doesn't go anywhere. Families are the integral part of a government, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, if you look around globally, You realize that in India, before a civil servant is transferred to any other station, they are given a notice period of 3 months so that they can plan themselves. In USA, Madam Speaker, the 5 CFR of 325, employees are usually given a written notice, usually 30 days minimum, before reassigning or being transferred, Madam Speaker. In South Africa, they do the same, they give one notice period. The key principles are that Kenyans must be given reasonable time to prepare. In our own country, the judiciary, for example, Madam Speaker, they have a policy that for a judge to be transferred from their current station to the other, they are usually given a notice period. We have seen teachers suffering in this country that if the head of the institution or the principal feels like he or she doesn't want you around, they sanction your transfer. Even at times, this transfer happens at mid-term, Madam Speaker, at the middle of the term. We have single parents who are taking care of their children. So if they are transferred from a station that is hundreds of kilometers away, they disrupt the education of the children, Madam Speaker. So what I'm simply saying in this bill is that in such cases, people must be given a notice period to plan themselves, either by looking for a school where your children will go, trying to get a place that we are going to stay, unless if it's an emergency and the person being that is seeking transfer has satisfied such an emergency, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, asking that the civil servants who plays a key role in providing service to Kenyans, that when they are being transferred be given a notice period is not asking for too much, Madam Speaker. Before I came up with these amendments, Madam Speaker, I was approached by a couple that have been looking for a child for very many years. And then the gentleman told me that one day when he had just gotten a very good doctor who had advised him, put him on a medication that he was supposed to use for 14 days at an opportune time that would get his wife pregnant, Madam Speaker. Before the man was halfway, the man was transferred from Western to Kilifi. The man, up to today, he cries, and there are many families who are suffering. Madam Speaker, transfer, I have seen situations where an individual is transferred immediately from one station to the other, citing incompetency. Incompetency cannot be cured by transfer from one station to the other. Incompetency can only be cured by capacity building, can only be cured by skill analysis, and maybe take this person from whatever duties is doing to a different function, Madam Speaker. And all I'm asking in this proposed amendment is that anybody, any civil servant, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a police officer, you must be given a notice period before you are transferred. Madam Speaker, many countries have advanced their welfares of their civil servants by ensuring that before they sanction transfers, it must be merited. If, for example, Madam Speaker, there are some, for example, in the National Police Service, where they have a policy that your police officer cannot be in a particular area for more than a number of years. By so doing, you just know that by next year, you ought to be transferred from this current station to the other. So that is a form of being given a notice period. This notice must be given in writing so that the officer that is going to be affected can plan him or herself accordingly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, one of the cardinal responsibilities of this House is to be able to establish public problems and provide a cure for those public problems. A public problem exists in the manner in which Kenyans are transferred from one station to the other, even on a very short notice period, Madam Speaker, without considering that these civil servants have families, they have children, they have dependents, some whose salaries is not even enough for them to hire a house girl or a houseboy. So they are literally the same people who are taking care of their families. So when they wake up in the morning and then you receive a transfer to a place farther away, without being given a notice period to plan your family, to settle your children, it is punitive, Madam Speaker. Many people have resigned from their current role because they could not fathom the transfer that come like immediately, like abruptly, Madam Speaker. So this is going to streamline the public service, it's going to streamline the civil service, it's going even to motivate the civil service that people will work for this country with the dedication, knowing that nothing will disrupt them. Nothing will disrupt their families, and that when time for them to move from the current station to the other, they will be given a notice period where they will plan their family, look for schools for their children, look for some that are on medication, Madam Speaker. They will have been given an ample opportunity to look for a qualified doctor, especially the specialists from around the areas where they have been deployed, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this law will realign the Kenyan civil service with the changing times so that Kenyans can begin to work in a manner that is similar with the citizens of many countries with a comparable jurisdiction, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this bill doesn't have any monetary implications. It doesn't affect implementation of all HR policies, but we are simply asking that the Kenyans deserve some kind of dignity, some kind of respect, some kind of qualified transfer sanctions from their current stations to other stations, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if this bill is approved and is ascended to, it is going to motivate the Kenyan civil servants. It is going to ensure that the Kenyan civil service are going to give it their all in providing services on behalf of the government of Kenya, because many people, many civil servants, they are demotivated because they don't know when they will be asked to move next day. Madam Speaker, in line with what is happening globally and regionally, that before you are being transferred, you are given some period of a notice period, I want to ask this Honorable House, I want to ask my fellow members of Parliament to consider supporting this bill. And even if there are issues that need to be addressed, Madam Speaker, our standing orders provides that when a member brings a bill, a proposal in this House, in the name of a bill, it is simply an idea that is brought before the diversity of Kenyans who are members of Parliament to improve it, either by way of suggesting amendments during the committee of the whole House, during third reading, and I therefore want to invite the honorable members to scrutinize this bill properly. Let us support it, let us approve it, and then implement it further. Because part of the, when we received public participation at the committee level, Madam Speaker, many Kenyans are supporting this bill, many institutions are supporting this bill, because this bill, in fact, ought to have been brought here 15 years ago. But God has his own way, has a purpose why we had to bring it at this time, and I therefore want to ask my colleagues to support this bill. Let us pass this bill so that it requires civil servants to be given a notice period before being transferred from one station to the other. This bill will streamline the civil service. What is happening today, Madam Speaker, is that we have some women who have suffered because of sexual harassment, where they don't heed to those harassment, Madam Chair. The people who are leading those institutions will transfer them as a way of punishing them from one station to the other, and even men as well, because this sexual harassment has no respect for gender. We have men who are being harassed sexually, and as well as women also being harassed sexually, Madam Speaker, and to stop those things that the transfers must, one, be merited, then number two, be given a notice period so that you don't just wake up in the morning, then you are told that you've been transferred from Bungoma to Malindi, or you have been transferred from Kwale to Turkana, so that Kenyans can at least give service to our country in Dokram. With these very few remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Employment Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 62 of 2023, be read for a second time. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is your seconder?
I ask Honorable Owen Bayer to second.
Honorable Didmus Barasa, well, I would love to second, but you have other thoughts that may not run parallel to yours. But now that you've given me the honors to do that, but allow me also to speak freely. Honorable Speaker, well, this is good intention, and I like the way that Honorable Didmus Barasa he said a bill when it comes to the floor is a proposal, it's good ideas, and I accept. But I want to say this, that there is one thing I learned in Parliament, especially the 12th Parliament, and John Bardi, who used to be my leader then in the ODM benches, taught me, as much as you want to do legislation, please do not over-legislate. Over-legislation. This bill risks that. It risks being a bill that over-legislates. Because if you read section 11, clause 11 of the bill, we have said very many things in this bill, Honorable Didmus Barasa, very nice things. Then you come to 11 and say each employer should develop and implement a transfer policy for its employees. Yes, each employer should develop and implement a transfer policy for its employees. And now when you look at all the things that obtained from 15A, all the way, actually these are policy issues. To my best of understanding, these are just policy issues. Now, if you say that each employer should develop and implement a transfer policy for its employees, but yet in 5 you say, in effecting a transfer, the employer shall be taken into account. I think there's some typographic there. In effecting a transfer, the employer shall take into account, I think the B needs to be struck out, the requirements for compliance with the transfer policy of the employer, the recruitment for compliance with the criteria of transfer set by the employer, the interest of the employer, the duration of transfer where, so you talk about the requirement for compliance with the criteria of transfer set by the employer. That is actually policy already. If you say again the requirement for compliance with the transfer policy of the employer, that is policy again. So I do not know, while I support your idea, I support the idea that we need to ensure that employees are not transferred arbitrarily. They are given due consideration when transfers are done. But in terms of making statute out of such, an interesting part, which may run counter to a lot of employers, but already probably is happening, when you say in this bill, that where applicable, facilitate the employee to move to the new place of work by providing reasonable transport for the movement of the employee and his or her personal effects, probably that includes family, providing a salary advance to enable the employee to move, which would be recoverable in reasonable installments. Now, there are certain companies that actually give you transfer allowances. There are certain companies that I know that when you are being transferred, you'll be given a transfer allowance that already obtains. Now, provide reasonable transport. I want to talk about the police. When the police are being transferred, the Land Rover, the local police Land Rover takes their belongings and everything, and already takes them there. So this is a good idea. I support the Honorable Didmas Barasa, the Honorable MP that will be Governor of Bungoma, inshallah. In this, in two things. One, we need to give dignity to transfers. When they must happen, there has to be some dignity to it. Don't just transfer somebody to punish somebody. Sometimes it is necessary to shift one person from the other if you see work is not going on well and you think, if I take this person this place, he might perform better. But it should not be punitive. Transfers should not be a measure of punishment. That one I agree with. Secondly, when transferring person, there are certain things that must be taken into cognizance. I have seen a pregnant woman who is 1 month due being transferred to a far-flung place without regard to where the closest maternity is. You know? And that is not something that we must do. Secondly, I have seen a person who is almost retiring, 6 months to retirement, and that person is being transferred to a station far-flung from where he comes from. I think that is not right. I have seen transfers of very sick people. A person who is sick being transferred. I think due consideration must be made in that when you're transferring that person. And transfers in Kenya should be about building synergy, should be about transferring skills, should be about helping the organization become more efficient. Transfers should be about building more capital in terms of transfer of skills. That's what transfers should be. But I think sometimes people who are bosses bring personal feelings to jobs and what they feel about one person or the other, not necessarily what that person produces for the organization. Because I don't relate with you well, because I don't like you, I want to transfer you, regardless of my output in the organization. I think we need to look at things differently. If we must move this country forward in terms of human capital, in terms of human capital development, then transfers should become that which enables a company to become a better organization. We have seen transfer of teachers that have been moved to a new area, and when they get to the new school, things become better in that school. That's the kind of transfer that we're looking at. We have seen transfers where a principal is not doing very well in a certain school because of the obtaining environment. But when he's transferred to another environment, he might even do better in that environment and give an opportunity to another person who comes to that new place who will even uplift the school. Those are the kind of transfers that we need to look at. And therefore, this country needs to relook at how transfer is done. But I would have argued that it can be done well in regulations and policy and not necessarily through statute. Again, we have seen, especially in provincial administration, which is currently called national government administration, we have seen where someone is doing very well, a DO or an SCC is doing very well, or a DCC is doing very well, and is actually pushing the community, and someone says, oh, probably this guy is looking for political power. And that guy gets transferred. Or is looking for popularity, and is transferred from the field and taken to Jogo to become a desk officer, killing the career of this officer completely. Some officers become threat to seniors, and the only way seniors want to do is punish that person, remove him from the area that he is very competent, and promote him to an area of incompetence, so that you kill the dream of that person. I think, Honorable Speaker, I agree with Didmus Barasa. We must bring sanity into the transfer of the transfer regime of this country. So the transfers become enablers of production, enablers of performance, enablers of betterment, and not punishment, and not retrogression, and not killing dreams and careers of other officers. Honorable Speaker, I second the Honorable Didmus Barasa and wish him well, but I think at the committee level, I think we need to make amendments, drop some of these things, improve so that we make better law for the country. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that the Employment Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 62 of 2023 be now read a second time. Member for Tigania West.
Honourable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to this important bill by the Honourable Didmus Barasa, Member of Parliament. Honourable Speaker, the family unit, not just in this country but the world over, is under threat. And it is important for us to note this very, very carefully, because under all circumstances, we need to protect the family unit. And this bill comes at a time when we all agree that there is need for us to bear that in mind, especially as a country. We notice how the family unit has performed. Honourable Speaker, some professions handle this very, very differently. Some consider certain factors, some companies do consider certain factors, but there may be no general policy as to how transfers should be handled. And that is why I think Honorable Barasa is right to come up with some guidelines that could be legislated to basically manage this particular space. So I have in mind a profession like teaching, and I believe all of us as members of Parliament have at one time or another been approached by a teacher X, teacher Y, to assist them in transfers. Most of those people, let me say ladies who are married, if you consider professions across the board, actually are teachers. Teachers are the most married professionals. I do not have statistics, but I think this is according to my own observation. When I was in school, I knew how much, when we were young, how much we were looking for wives and how much we were considering teachers as best suited, because they will be there. And they will be living with the children, managing the children of other people, and therefore most probably managing yours as well. So I would like to take a minute to discuss the teaching profession. Honourable Speaker, because all of us have been bombarded at one time or another by teachers asking us to assist them with transfers, I think that limit of 5 years, to me, should actually work. Because the early 5 years, people are organizing themselves to fit somehow. When men are involved, especially in these transfers, and especially when they want to join their spouses, it is like completely denied. It is like, no. Maybe when women are involved, there is this assumption, the general assumption that it is only men who should be joined and not women to be joined at some times, at some point. Most employees rarely consider the family unit when they are occasioning transfers. And in some cases, as the previous speakers have alluded to, some transfers are not effected because they are necessary, but because they are disciplinary in nature. Or because there is some level of disagreement between the one who is occasioning the transfer and the one who is being transferred. There was this policy on delocalization that occurred a few years ago, and it saw many teachers move away from their domains, from their areas of, familiarity. Well, it appeared like a good idea on our speaker. Later on, it had to be reversed because it occasioned a lot of problems. And some of those problems could not be solved otherwise. So it is important for us to also consider growth and development in a career, and that must occasion transfers so that you can gain experience. If we left merit to manage transfers in various professions, probably we might do the right thing. Child upbringing, on our speaker, requires both parents, in most cases when the parents are there. And that is therefore, besides, of course, being able to work, we also need to bring up reliable and dependable future generations. And that is why parenting is an issue in this country, and it is important where it is in place to be protected or to be given the attention that it requires. On one hand, a certain law basically allows for paternity leave. Goes to an extent of even saying, okay, when you have a child born in a family, there is need for even the man to be there. But honestly, if you look at it critically, yes, indeed, the man will be able to assist, but the child will not feel it. The child will not know. I want to allude to the fact that when it is critical for both parents to be there, in most cases, they are not there. And if you look at what has been happening in this country, we promoted the girl child against the boy child. And right now, we are seeing the results. Today, we have more learned girls than boys. We have more forthright and outgoing girls than boys. We have more powerful girls than boys. And because we are a patrilineal society, it's always a fact that it is a man who will propose to marry a woman. I'm also making this assumption deliberately, knowing that some of us do not believe in that. But, Honourable Speaker, that is the norm that has been happening, unless we belong to an otherwise society, which is not true. So my point is that there is a certain age which is extremely important in shaping the life of a boy or a girl into a man or a woman of the future. And this is the age between around 3 years when people start understanding their surrounding to around 13 years when they start fitting into dependency in the teenage. Those 10 years are critical in the life of a child, and whatever a child is properly taught around that age, they never forget. Whether you take them to church, they will keep on going to church forever. If you keep them away from church and if you keep them away from even associating, there will be loners and there will be people who will live their life. So the life-shaping age is around that much. Again, I may not talk from very reliable and verifiable research, but this is what I've noted and known as we live this life. So it is important for us to consider having both parents if it is possible. So I agree with the 5-year rule when it comes to Teacher Service Commission. In other professions, I think it is 3 years or 5 years. I don't know whether it is in law. I stand corrected if it is in law, but I think that makes sense. So early stages in life, my proposal is this, Honourable Speaker, because we come up with solutions. Let's not just say transfer should not happen or transfer should be managed, but we should also be able to propose certain solutions. One of them, the early stages in life, in a profession, and when people are looking outward looking, and they are young and they're energetic and open-minded, I think transfer is not an issue. Wherever a young person is placed, they are okay. But when they start forming families or making up families, it becomes important, and early childhood is important when it comes to developing the life of the children. And therefore, that time transfer should be managed, listening very carefully to the family unit to try and get to know exactly whether it is genuine or whether it is not genuine. When it comes to midlife, I have in mind when probably people have grown in professions, they have reached the management levels, and they are now competing to merit better positions. I think at this particular point in time, again, flexibility can come in. And it is possible to manage this age-wise also. Flexibility in the sense that we need now people to be more opened up to more challenging situations. We need people to take up bigger roles. We need people to also understand peculiarities of various surroundings that they find themselves or environments that they find themselves in. Therefore, we should open that particular flexibility. At old age, on our speaker, I think again we need to listen very carefully to the family unit, because at this particular age, young people or young children have become mature, and again, maybe people may want to probably be brought closer together, or probably allowed to manage their families otherwise. So, Honourable Speaker, I think the amendments to the Employment Act are in very good faith. And they come in to try and manage what is not already managed in the existing laws, and therefore, Honourable Speaker, I support. Thank you very much.
Very well. Before I give the next speaker, allow me to recognize in our speakers gallery today the Nyali School from Nyali constituency, Mombasa, and Gatoto Junior and Primary School from Embakasi South, Nairobi. We welcome them to observe the proceedings of the House. Member for Marsabit, you have the floor. Hold on, Honorable Wako. Honorable Owen, you want to?
Something to the Nyali.
Yeah, you have a minute.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I want to welcome Nyali School to the House. My name is Owen Baya, Member of Parliament for Kilifi North. And it's a pleasure to have you here. Parliament is a great place to be. Leadership is not only nurtured in schools, but it is also grown in schools and implemented or done here in this House through legislation oversight and representation. That's what we do in this House. And as you go out there, back to your school, work hard, do your best, do what your teachers tell you to do, don't do what your teachers don't tell you to do, and your parents. And one of the greatest things that we bring into Parliament is knowledge. Be knowledgeable. Be young people that fear God and have value systems. You'll become great men and women. And I hope one day, probably many of you will sit in this chamber and become legislators and become leaders that we will always be very proud of. So, karibuni sana to this hallowed chamber of Parliament. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Very well. Wako.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this very important amendment bill that speaks on the employment, that speaks on the employment of employees. And I also want to congratulate the sponsor, Honorable Didmas Wekesa Barasa, for coming up with this amendment, which is very helpful to all of us as members of Parliament and also to Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, I have looked at this brief amendment, and I want to say that I support this bill because the bill is speaking to our current challenges, and the bill will solve a lot of problems that we have been through as a country. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the bill processes and practice of transfer of employees has been arbitrary and has been misused to the detriment of employees, especially those in public service. This is very, very true, because we all know very well what some of our employees go through. Some people have suffered in the hands of their bosses. And again, when the bill says that this bill therefore seeks to provide clarity on the modalities of transfer of employees in good faith and in a fair way. And Honorable Speaker, we know very well that in the past, many people, many supervisors have not put into consideration what we call the work ethics. And they have not also considered the rights of employees, and especially teachers or young employees have suffered in the hands of their employers or their supervisors. Honorable Speaker, we know very well that teachers, medics, and other people who have suffered, and some have developed even depression, and some have even developed some terminal illnesses, and even lost their jobs because of the challenges they have gone through. Honorable Speaker, I support this because in 15A, subsection 3, the bill proposes that, subject to subsection 2, an employee who wishes to transfer to another place of work shall notify the employer in writing of the intention to move to another place of work, and such request shall be considered in accordance with the subsection 5. Honorable Speaker, many at the time, the employees have been, their requests have been rejected. I know of a case that I have been following for the last 3 years, where a young man has requested for a transfer from one station to another, but getting that transfer has been a real problem, and that has caused a real problem to his family. And the young wife, of course, is taking care of 3 children, and the husband is working at another place, and that has affected the family growth and also their social affairs. Honorable Speaker, sometimes when you look at human nature, we are good at punishing each other, and especially in Kenya. People are good at demonstrating, others they just want to show that they have that right to demean the others, and sometimes to demoralize them, and also show them that, they have more powers. And in doing that, we have made a terrible and negative impact on families. Because when you look at young families in Kenya, they are faced with a lot of challenges, financial challenges. Some are not even able to send their children to school, and yet they themselves are teachers. Some are not even able to mentor their children and be role models because one partner is always away. And that is why I support this bill, because it gives the employee the reason for the intended transfer. When the employer wants to transfer them, again, it informs the employee of the implication of the transfer on the employee's contract of service. In the past, this has not been practiced. And in this nation, we know about that some of the directors and some of the immediate bosses have been dictators to employees. And when we apply this bill now, it will notify the employee of the measures that the employer envisages that shall be taken in relation to the employee, if any, and requires the consent of the employee before affecting the transfer. This opportunity has been denied in the past, and when this will be done, we will be able to help the employee and the employer relationship will grow. Again, under E, where applicable, facilitate the employee to move to the new place of work. In the past, Honorable Speaker, many people who have been transferred to different stations have been suffered, and some of them end up begging. And when this will be done, this will also help them, because the family that will be left behind and the person who is moving will be able to be facilitated, and they will be able to settle smoothly. Again, number 3 of that really encourages me, because it says, number 1 first says, providing reasonable transport for the movement of the employee and his or her personal effects. And number 2 says, providing salary advance to enable the employee to move. This is one thing that we have lacked in the past, and this will help anybody who is affected by the transfer to be more effective and to even go through that process with a lot of ease, because in the past, people have been depressed at a point of transfer. Again, Honorable Speaker, when we put into consideration our teachers, our medics, as I have said, you know, sometimes even the salaries they earn is very minimal. And transferring them is kind of, it brings a lot of confusion, and they are not able even to continue with their lives. When you look at Article number 5, in effecting a transfer, the employer shall be taken into account, what the employer needs to take into account, and especially from C to F is really what has interested me. The interest of employer, the duration of transfer, whether permanent or temporary, the length and frequency of the transfer. And especially this E, because sometimes people are transferred in, you know, in 1 year, somebody is transferred to 3 different places. And so even the length and frequency of the transfer and the duration should also be put into consideration. And we must also say that one must stay at one station, maybe for 3 years, not less than 3 years, so that they can be able to settle and start a life, unless maybe there is something that will push them. So I would want to advise the sponsor to make sure that if one is transferred, the issue of transferring one person to 3 different places within a year should be the issue of the past, and we should recommend that minimum 3 years, so that one can be based in at the new station. Again, the skills and competence of the employee should be put into consideration. Even at the employment time, their skills, their competence should be put in place so that they will not be irrelevant to the work that they are doing. Honorable Speaker, when you look at Article number 11, each employer should develop and implement a transfer policy. In fact, in addition to HR manual policy, we should develop this so that this employment policy will guide everybody and should be practiced in every area. And with those few remarks, I support this bill, and it is my prayer that it will soon be assented to, and that it will guide and guard the nation so that we can have an easy life for every employee who will be affected in terms of transfers. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Naisula Lesuda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support this bill, the Employment Amendment Bill 2023, by my colleague and friend, Honorable Didmas Baraza. He seems to be on a roll on the number of bills he's bringing to this House. And this one is very important. It's actually something that we deal with every other day, especially as members of Parliament, when we have many people coming to us asking for transfers, or that they have stayed in a certain place for way too long. And I think this bill will remedy that, so that that work is not left to a member of Parliament or to someone who is known to someone. Because I'm sure there are many Kenyans who don't have the privilege of having someone powerful or someone who can help with the transfers, Madam Speaker. And so this bill is timely, and it is also a very important one. I just have a reservation on one of the clauses where he talks about that if an employer wants to do a transfer, that there has to be consent of the employee before effecting the transfer. It is a good one, but I can also imagine where there is no consent, then what happens? Because also we can't tie down the employers fully that, you know, and I'm sure many people will not, there are areas or parts of this country where an employee would prefer or would want to serve there even forever. And there are other parts of this country that an employee would not want to work. And so you can imagine then transferring someone from a station where they prefer they will not give consent. And so what happened thereafter? I'd really want to hear about that, because this then will really tie down the employer in terms of, you know, just doing their job. And, you know, it is very unfortunate that most of the times also when transfers happen, there are parts of this country where if you're sent there, it's more of a punishment. You know, if someone is employed and then sent to Marsabit, Samburu, you know, the hardship areas, or Wajir, Garissa, you find someone saying, I'd rather even not go there. And these are very young people who are looking for job opportunities. We should make it that a civil servant or anyone sent in to any part of this country, it is not a form of punishment. And I like what is also curing with this bill, where sometimes people are transferred to a certain region when they have made a mistake. And that is what then creates the perception that certain areas are for a dumping site, you know? So if you have, you have failed or you're not performing, you're sent to a certain region. And so we make some regions then look like they're not a conducive place, or it's not Kenya. And I really like that that is being taken care of here, especially where in clause 7, an employee who is the subject of disciplinary proceedings shall not be transferred until such proceedings are concluded and all mechanisms for appeal under the Constitution or any other written law have been exhausted. Madam Speaker, I believe this is a very, very important clause, because we all know that, you know, you've heard of what, for example, there was a certain prosecutor in Maralal who, if you check his track record, all other places that he had worked in, he was corrupt, and especially on matters to do with children, and then brought to Maralal while he still has, a disciplinary case going on. And so we are not going to transfer problems in this country. If someone has failed, you know, step aside until the proceedings are concluded, you have appealed, and then you can be transferred to a certain station or to a certain area. Because we have seen where, you know, with CCSs, BSs, when they go to a certain area and someone is not working, and quickly they say, you're transferred. And as I said, most of the time, they are sent to those hardship areas, and so it looks like it's a punishment. You're being punished to go there. There is no part of this country which wants people who have failed in other stations, Madam Speaker, and so I really appreciate this part of the bill. Secondly, I think it would be important, and we will look later during the committee of the whole, during amendments, it's important if we can actually think of how to reinforce how long someone can stay in one station. Because for many reasons. One, familiarity. You know, you become too comfortable in that area, you start doing your own small businesses, which is also good, but also it's just important that people are able to work in different parts of this country and everybody to have that experience. But then also, it should be that when that time reaches, it is so saddening when we get some messages here of a teacher, of a police officer who has stayed. Already there is a policy, for example, there is a policy with TAC that you shouldn't be, that you're eligible for transfer after 5 years, or I think 6. But you find someone has stayed in one school for 10 years. It should be automatic, and they should not even look for me as a member of parliament. The system should work. And that is what, Madam Speaker, earlier on when you were contributing to my bill, you said that as a country, we just need the systems to work. You know, if it is you're due for transfer, let the transfer happen without looking for me or without looking for anybody else. If you've been in a hardship area and now you're supposed to work probably in, you know, what others would call down Kenya, let that distribution also be fair, Madam Speaker. There is also a certain issue that we must discuss, especially in these areas where there's hardship allowance. Let's say if you're working in Samburu, Marsabit, Turkana, and areas like this, Madam Speaker. We get people who just seek employment in those areas, but they do not report, or they do not go then to work there for example, if you're a teacher, so you get an opportunity and then immediately then ask for a transfer to be moved from those hardship areas, Madam Speaker. And that disadvantages especially the children of those areas, and that is why we fought for affirmative action, so that also locals can get those opportunities to teach children there, because we can't have people getting an opportunity, for example, in Samburu as a teacher, but immediately because they know somebody, let's say at TSC, they go and ask for a transfer. What happens to those children of that particular place, Madam Speaker? And so these are very fundamental issues that this bill actually looks at and takes care of, and I think it is also very progressive in terms of ensuring that these issues of transfers are taken care of. Lastly, Madam Speaker, there has to be fairness as well. When this House passed to reverse the delocalization policy, we saw some teachers from some regions were quickly then taken back home. But teachers from some areas, for example, it took us so long for the teachers who had been sent to Marsabit County, which there is no problem. But already we have said that the delocalization policy was not working, Madam Speaker. We had teachers who families broke, we had teachers who, it was just very difficult for them to work where they were, and especially with their kind of salary. But we realized that there was no fairness in terms of reversing the policy across the country. And so what this bill is going to take care of is fairness. It is going to deal with issues to do with taking care of employees, Madam Speaker, so that they are motivated and so that they can serve in their respective areas in the country. Lastly, Madam Speaker, I just want to speak especially to our young people, that when you get a job opportunity anywhere in this country, please take up the position and give your best and serve. It is not fair to the people where you have been sent to go and work, and immediately now you're looking for a transfer or you don't want to work there. So this bill also should not curtail people from working where they have been posted, Madam Speaker. And so the spirit is commendable. And lastly, because he's going to the county, he's going to run for governor. Please give me a minute, I say something about counties especially. Transfers should not be political. That because now you don't support a certain governor, you are transferred from, let's say, this docket to 30 seconds. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to caution Honorable Didmas, since I know he has ambitions and I wish him the very best to become a governor. Mostly we find political witch hunt in terms of when at the county levels, but even at national level, that if you're not supporting this regime, if another regime comes in, we just have to be fair and let civil servants be civil servants. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Before I give the next member, allow me to recognize in the Speaker's Gallery, Ukunda Bright Angels from Sambweni constituency, Kwale County. And we have learners and teachers from Miale Atumaini from Kajiado North, Kajiado County. You're welcome to observe the proceedings of the House. Member for Igembe Central, Karido.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to participate in this bill. First of all, I want to congratulate Honorable Baraza for bringing forth this bill. Madam Speaker, this bill is very crucial and very important. In fact, it has come at the right time, and I really support it. Madam Speaker, on this issue of transfers, every employer has set a time when every employee should serve before requesting for transfers. And I believe Kenya is digital, and the systems should be available to communicate wherever this employee requires to move after serving the mandatory duration, where they should serve in their given stations. Madam Speaker, we have instances where we have mostly teachers and also police officers who have served in certain stations for a long period of time against their wishes, even after serving for the mandatory period where they should serve before requesting for transfers. Madam Speaker, the Act has stipulated clearly how we would like these transfers to be implemented. For example, I know of a certain teacher who have served in a region for more than 6 years, away from his husband. They were newly married before getting the job. They have tried to get a transfer. It has become impossible. The teacher got sick. They have transferred again. They have requested again for transfer. Even after getting seriously sick, it has not been possible. And when they came to me, I went to TSC to intervene. Though it was finally given, suppose the teacher did not have anyone who could assist her to get the TSC. That's why we find we have some officers, both teachers and police officers, who have been even going to rehabilitation centers because of these effects. Madam Speaker, this bill is very crucial. And I want to request that we follow it to the letter. We make sure that this act is enacted into the law so that the employer does not punish the employees. There are those who, when they ask for transfers, they even get taken to a far distance from where they were, just because they requested that they be moved from that area. And I would like to encourage both TSC and Kenya Police Service Commission that they consider even having some incentives for those who are in far-flung areas. The hardship allowances they are given may not be enough. They may be more encouraged so that at least even when the transfers are not available, they are comfortable and they can feel as if they are working like any other Kenyan. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support.
Very well. Member for Moiben. Barto, are you on this?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for also giving me the chance to contribute to this bill. And I want to thank the Honorable Member, Didmas Barasa, for bringing such an amendment because it is very, very important and crucial, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when Kenyans are getting employed, most of the time, they sign to work in every part of Kenya. And also, Madam Speaker, because of national cohesion and integration, it is always good to test every part of Kenya. And every institution normally has a transfer policy. But unfortunately, Madam Speaker, such policies have been misused. They are just kept in files in offices, but when something happens, it can be used as a punishment. Madam Speaker, we have had cases where, let me give an example of Teacher Service Commission. A teacher is transferred in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the term. A teacher has children. A teacher has the pay. Normally, a salary is never enough, and you are thrown to very far-flung areas in the parts of the country to teach. It's okay to go there, but did they consider how you are going to move there? Did they consider the children that you are going to move with them, or you leave them with them under the mercy of the domestic workers and so on? And Madam Speaker, if this amendment is very important so that it is made clear that it is not, this transfer policy is not used as a punishment. I have a case in my constituency of the administration police in one station referred to as Kimumu. it is like a dumping ground for them, because anybody who has an issue, anybody who is alcoholic, any policeman who is alcoholic, any policeman who has been found with any indisciplined case has always been dumped to that station. I don't know for what reason. I thought they should first of all consider rehabilitating them before dumping them in that side. So, Madam Speaker, this amendment is very, very important so that the right procedures are followed. Honorable Member Ditmas Barasa gave an example of the judiciary. The judiciary has a very, very clear policy, and transfer is effected after every 3 years. So when you are posted to a station, you sit there pretty knowing that in the next 3 years, you are due for transfer to another station. And it is not just transfer. You are well catered for in terms of pay. You are given pay. Your luggage you are provided means of transferring your luggage to the station. They even go ahead to make sure that you get accommodation temporarily as you look for a suitable place for you. So all the institutions should plan to emulate such practices, Madam Speaker, because sometimes you are a parent, you are blessed with a child who has special needs. And all of a sudden, boom, you are pushed to another part of the country where you can't provide for such a child. You are a mother. You must go and look for the school. You don't have the time, and nobody cares. Madam Speaker, I have a case in my constituency of a mother who had a special needs child. And she was transferred to go and work in another far-flung place in Kenya. I don't want to name the place, and I don't want to specify the mother. And what did she do? She tried very hard to stop the transfer. It couldn't work. Eventually, she decided to quit the job. She quit the job not because it was her wish. It is because she had this child who was a special needs child, who was receiving special treatment, who was attending a special school, and who was entirely dependent on the mother. So she decided to quit school, to quit the job. And at the moment, as we speak, she's even undergoing treatment. She's depressed. She's on depression, and she's being treated for depression. So sometimes I ask myself, why? Why do we wait until such a thing happens? So I think it is very important to thank Honorable Barasa for bringing such an amendment. Madam Speaker, sometimes you are transferred because of political orientation, political affiliations. An election has been done, you are supporting a certain side of divide, a political divide. And because you did not align, immediately the elections are done, you become a victim. We have had so many principals and head teachers in our country who have been thrown into paths they didn't wish to go. They were not even given notice. They were just told to pack and leave because of their political affiliations. For how long are our citizens going to be subjected to such? The transfer policy should be strictly followed, and the Constitution gives us rights of association, rights of speech, and so on. So nobody should victimize somebody because of political affiliations, because of transfer. That because you are not aligning, the next time somebody comes into power, you become a victim. So it creates fear, and people work under very strenuous conditions. So, Madam Speaker, I think it is very important to make it very clear, and transfer policy not to be used as an arbitrary, or it should not be used arbitrarily and be abused to serve the interests of those people who are in power. Madam Speaker, we have had cases of families which have broken down. A family which has just gotten married, one is thrown to one part of the country, another one is thrown to another part of the country. How do you expect such families to grow? Eventually, they part ways and they go different ways. And when we blame the society, we blame the fabric, the moral fabric of the society, but sometimes we create such problems. We should be giving our employees time to plan their lives. When you get a job, the transfer should be done in a way that it is systematic. If I know that after 3 years, I'm ready to move to another location, and it should be specified that if after 3 years I am working in Nakuru, the next time, if the transfer is to be done, I must be given prior notice and given time for myself to plan. And if you are not able to move, you should give sufficient reasons, and those reasons should be listened to. Sometimes our employees beg for transfers. Sometimes they give reasons. They give very, very valid reasons. They attach medical documents, but such just collect dust because nobody wants to listen to them. So it is important that we don't misuse the transfer policy. We don't punish our people because we feel that they don't know anyone. They are not related to a big man in court. I quote, a big man or a big woman, so that you can get a favor of the employer. It should be very smooth. It should be employees should be happy in their place of work and know that anytime you wish to be transferred or anytime the employer wishes to transfer you, they approach you and they give you sufficient time to plan. Sometimes you are transferred when you are at the end, you are about to retire. I've seen cases of somebody given a transfer when they only have 4 months to retire. How do you expect such an employee to survive? To plan, to relocate to a new territory, go and look for accommodation, and after 4 months, you transfer them back again without even giving them an incentive, without paying them some stipend. And even if they are, sometimes, Madam Speaker, it takes forever. You are transferred in January, and before you get any benefit, you are 2 years down the line in the new station. So how do they expect you to survive? So I think it is very important to make it very clear and very, very smooth so that people don't feel that they are punished. Because if you feel,
Very well. Allow me to recognize learners and teachers from Mary Immaculate School from Kwanza constituency, Trans Nzoia County. You're welcome to observe the proceedings of the House. Very well. The next chance will go to the member. Honorable CTNA, I do not see you here. Why are you raising your hand? What? You'll be next after the member for Manyata. Honorable members, get your cards. Honorable members, replace your cards if you have lost them. For Manyata. Oh, you're in for the next one? Kemei? Okay, before Honorable Kemei, let's indulge member for Tarbo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this particular bill. I wish on the onset to thank Honorable Didimas Barasa for bringing in this amendment bill, which I think is very timely. Honorable Speaker, I think it's very important that when we employ, we have to take care of our employees, so that this bill is actually going to cure arbitrary transfers without policy regulation. So this bill is actually going to address the policy regulation so that all transfers will be fair, will be competence-based, will actually be need-based, and will be fair distribution of employees within our country. Honorable Speaker, in the past, we have seen very unfair transfers of employees, whether teachers, whether doctors, any other employees within the government, being transferred because of non-performing or because of disciplinary measures. We would want to see a scenario where an employee is indisciplined, they must actually complete the case, be disciplined, and retain them there. We do not have other areas being dumping grounds for non-performing employees. They must remain there, be disciplined there, and continue working within those stations so that other areas do not become dumping ground for people who are indisciplined and non-performing. Honorable Madam Speaker, we also would want to see transfers being effected looking at the health of the worker. We should put in consideration the health of the worker. We should put in consideration the family matters. You find that some employees are unwell and they would not want to transfer because of health reasons. So we must not subject them to transfers out of their family vicinity. And also, this is going to cure fair distribution of employees within the country. You find that sometimes, like teachers, they may be transferred to one school. You find that a school having overstaffed, whereas another school is understaffed. And all of it is courtesy of arbitrary transfers. So, Madam Speaker, I think this bill is going to cure a lot of things. And also, considering that these employees are human beings, we have to consider their stability. Some of them are transferred very far away out of their families and they are unwell. The other day we had a case where one of the teachers died in the house because she was living alone in a very remote place where she was transferred. And she has even been acting in an acting position for too long as a deputy principal. And you realize that because she was unwell, she just died in the house alone. And that was very unfortunate. So we must also consider the health of the employees. So, Madam Speaker, I want to support this. You find that some transfers are done because of political affiliations, which should not be the case. Every employee has a right to be where they are. So this particular amendment is going to bring up a policy that will regulate all these issues so that employees, wherever they are, they know that I am working for this period of time, and after that, I'm able to be transferred, but accordingly, fairly, impartially, without unfairness. So, Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the member for bringing this amendment, which is going to cure so many other things. Because we have realized that some employees are unfairly transferred, some employees are transferred because of indiscipline, which should not be transferred to another place. If that person cannot be disciplined within that location or within that workstation, then they should be stopped or removed from working or sacked or whatever discipline measure they are given. They should not transfer a problem to another station. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, I support the amendment fully, and thank you for giving me that opportunity to add my voice.
Very well, Kemei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And on the onset, I want to support this amendment bill, an act of parliament to amend the Employment Act 2007 and for connecting purposes. I want to thank Honorable Didmas Parasa, the MP of Kimilili of Bungoma County, for bringing in this amendment. It is a very important amendment, Honorable Speaker. Looking at what is being inserted, that is the insertion of new section 15A, a number 11 of 2007. Having looked at all this, the transfer of employees is very important. And what it means is deployment of an employee from one duty station to another. Honorable Speaker, I've worked before as a teacher in different stations. And the first thing that happens is that some teachers request for transfer. Others are transferred without their knowledge. So, Honorable Speaker, the reasons for their transfer is not given. So you find that the employee, who in this case is a teacher, goes through a lot of agony, looking at the family background and the family engagement. The newly married for this case could be transferred from one station to another, even across counties. Even those who are of age, almost to retire, could be transferred. It gives a lot of stress to the teachers, and not only teachers. We also have the Ngao team, we have the police officers. So once somebody is transferred without their knowledge, they are not even given time to prepare for transfer. That one causes a lot of agony to the teacher, to the police officer, or any other employee. Honorable Speaker, the latest being the transfer of staff who are in NHIF, and with this new one of SHA, some of the staff are transferred back to Public Service Commission to actually be given employment in other departments and in other ministries. And that one gives issues. In the first case, they do not know where they are being transferred to. So this bill will cushion issues of this transfer. Honorable Speaker. And some of the employers misuse the position they have, and in process, they transfer employees to settle their scores. One of the areas of concern is if you are not aligned to the CEO or to the principal or to the head of the institution, then you could be transferred. They could say this is a difficult employee. They may not even take into consideration what the employee goes through. Maybe an employee is difficult according to the employer, or is a drunkard. So this one now, instead of going through a process of rehabilitation, they are transferred. So they transfer the problem from one station to another. So this bill will actually cushion that such cases. The transfer should be in good faith, and the employee should be communicated maybe like 6 months so that they prepare for the same. Some transfers are genuine, some transfers are actually in good faith for the sake of maybe skills, and maybe when the other school, for example, or the other place needs an employee or needs staff, they could be transferred. But it should actually be communicated. It has caused, these issues has caused even family disintegration, which is so unfair. And Honorable Speaker, I don't have the statistics, but I would also imagine that so much of this infidelity is caused by separation of families. So I may not be very specific in statistics, but I know it is one of the causes of this infidelity. I know of a case, a particular case where a teacher is transferred, teaching in another county, and the husband stays home. Now this lady goes to live with another man, and this guy now staying home with the children is so disturbed, he even wants to go and kill maybe the other guy in the other place. So it is causing issues, Honorable Speaker. Now, I wish families can stay around together. So, Honorable Speaker, I stand to support, and I want to thank the Honorable Ditmas Barasa for bringing in this amendment bill, and I want to encourage him to continue with what he's doing. He's a good person, and what he's doing is doing a lot of service to our people, and I wish you well in Bungoma County. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well, member for Igembe North.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this very, very important bill. First, allow me to thank the mover, Honorable Barasa, for bringing a very critical bill to amend the Employment Act 2007. This is a very important bill because it provides safeguards to the employees against the arbitrary harassment, misuse, intimidation by the employers. This bill is so critical because it will enable the employees to work in their environment without fear. Madam Speaker, transfers have been used or passed in a very, very awkward manner, whereby if the employer or the administrators who are weak, they use transfers to coerce the workers. And these workers, when they are coerced, they cannot deliver. So this bill is so critical because it will enable the employees to work in an environment devoid of such forms of intimidation. Madam Speaker, transfers are normal in some cases because we know they are normal process, for they are used to stabilize institutions. We are not against transfers that are good, that are meant to stabilize the structures or the institutions where the employees work. But the bill corrects the injustices that goes against the tenets of a conducive working environment. I propose, or I support, by saying when transfers are being given, they should consider some issues like age, health, and even family background. Because, for instance, transfers are majorly used in the teaching fraternity or teaching sector and the police force, whereby you find, for example, in the police force, if a person or an administrator is not comfortable with an employee, you are even switched from the various sectors of the police force. For example, there is the AP, the general duty, the ASTO, the traffic. Those are deemed to be in lucrative sectors, like the traffic. You can be moved to another as a form of harassment, as a form of intimidation, if your boss is not satisfied. This one is not right, and the employees should be cushioned from such adversaries. Another thing, Madam Speaker, is, for instance, if your husband is working in Lamu, it goes against the tenets of fair labor practices and Article 41 of our Constitution, if you will move the spouse to Mandera or to Kisumu. This is destabilizing the families, and this now destabilizes even the learning environment, the working environment. It's good to look at such factors when transfers are being given. They should not be punitive to an extent that the employee will resign, the employee will go to distress, and you will realize that we are having employees who are now and then are taken to rehabilitation centers due to harassment by the employer or their bosses. This one should be minimized, and this bill is meant to cure such injustices so that the Kenyans can work in conducive environment, deliver for the posterity of this country. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support the bill.
Very well. Before the next speaker, allow me to recognize in the speakers gallery Pentagon Academy from Suna West, Migori County, and in the public gallery, Line Member School from Kiminini constituency, Trans Nzoia County. We welcome you to observe the proceedings of the House. Mbunge wa Mombasa.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kumpongeza Mheshimiwa Didmas Baraza kwa kuweza kuwafikiria wafanyikazi haswa walimu na wale wengine ambao huwa wanapewa transfers za kioleleolela. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, unaweza kupata shule, na mimi nikiangalia hii bill vile ameiweka marekebisho, Mheshimiwa Spika, watu wengi wamekuwa wakifuatia matatizo mengi sana wakati wa transfer. Unapata pengine mwalimu ni mgonjwa, daktari wake ambaye anamjulia vizuri yuko pale karibu, anapewa ghafla transfer ya kwenda sehemu nyingine. Kwenda kule tena ndo aanze kutafuta namna matibabu yake, Mheshimiwa Spika, inakuwa ni ngumu. Mheshimiwa Spika, unapata wengine wameoana, ni family, baba na mama, wamekaa sehemu moja, mara ghafla binvu, bila kuulizwa, bila kutaka ushauri, unapata mama anatolewa, anapelekwa sehemu nyingine mbali, baba ameacha huku na watoto wako shule. Ndio unapata walimu wanapata msongo wa mawazo, Mheshimiwa Spika, unapata ndoa nyingi zinavunjika, Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini yote ile pia, yani mimi kitu ambacho kilikuwa kinanishangaza, hata walimu wakipelekwa transfer za mbio, Mheshimiwa Spika, ikifika kwenye promotion hawafikiriwi kama vile wanavyofikiriwa kwenye transfers haraka haraka, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo unapata walimu, polisi wetu wanapata ile msongo wa mawazo, mtu bado hajatulia vizuri, anatolewa, anapelekwa sehemu nyingine. Na ukiangalia pia, Mheshimiwa Spika, hata wanafunzi katika shule, mimi hata watoto wangu walikuwa wakipenda kuja kunambia, mama, leo tumeletewa mwalimu mpya. Mtoto anatetemeka, anaogopa, kwa sababu pengine alikuwa amezoea yule mwalimu wake, pengine ana mapungufu fulani katika maumbile, katika kuelewa, lakini yule mwalimu ambaye alikuwa naye mwanzo alikuwa na uelewa na yeye anajua anampeleka taratibu. Lakini unapata wakili wakibadilishwa, hata wale watoto pia darasani kuja kumuelewa mwalimu ndio waweze kuelewa yale mafunzo tena vizuri, inachukua muda, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ndio maana unaona shule nyingi za private wanafanya vizuri, kwa sababu mwalimu yuko na wale watoto toka anaanza na wao mpaka vile mtoto anavyofikia kiwango fulani, unapata wako persistent na wanajua huu mwanafunzi shida yake ni kitu fulani, huyu shida yake ni kitu fulani. Lakini katika shule zetu za public ama za serikali, Mheshimiwa Spika, unapata hata matokeo ya mtihani yanakuwa si ya kuridhisha sana, kwa sababu kila kuchao tunatoa mwalimu huku na mpeleka huku, hajatulia na mawazo yake ya nyumbani, anafikiria atafanya vipi work plan yake, akifanya skimming ya kazi yake mara anaregesha kwingine, wale syllabus zao pengine wako nyuma, tena inabidi mregeshe nyuma. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka kumpongeza Mheshimiwa Didmas Baraza, na baraza afanye vyema tu ndani ya bunge, hata kule mashinani. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia mbinde zake mwenyewe wafurahishwa, manake ni kiongozi ambaye anajiamini, na niwaambie hata na kuombea kila la kheri kule Bungoma, Mheshimiwa Spika, uweze kuibuka mshindi, kwa sababu yale mambo ambayo unaeleza hapa ndani ya bunge, umefikiria wale wananchi wako wa kule chini, umefikiria Mkenya yule mwalimu ambaye pengine yuko kule Kiminini, amekaa ametulia, anajua na ng'ombe wake pale, na mbuzi wake, na familia yake, mara ghafla binvu anatolewa, analetwa Mombasa, kuna joto, hajui angalia afya yake, hajui afikiria kufanya kazi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi naona hii bill inaweza kusaidia sana ikiwa kama mwalimu atakuwa kwanza anashauriwa. Wengi wamekuja katika ofisi yangu, Mheshimiwa Spika, si walimu peke yake, hata maaskari wetu, anakuja na kuambia, Mheshimiwa, naomba nenda ukanizungumzie kwa mkubwa wangu nisitolewe wakati huu na mtihani hivi na hivi. Wengine pengine walikuwa hata wameingia ile kuboresha zaidi masomo yao, wako katika college, lakini anatolewa pale, anapelekwa sehemu nyingine ambapo kwamba pengine hawezi kupata yale masomo kule ili kujiboresha zaidi. Unapata anafifia, zile ndoto zake za kuweza kujiboresha katika maisha zinaanguka, Mheshimiwa Spika. Wengine, Mheshimiwa Spika, pengine amekosana tu na mwalimu mkuu ama umetofautiana kitu kidogo, unapata mara moja anapewa transfer. Mimi najua leo wako wanafuatilia mjadala, kwa sababu ni jambo ambalo limekuwa likiwaumiza sana, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na jambo hili tukilizungumza katika bunge hii, sio kuwa pengine tunataka kuonea watu fulani, hapana. Manake pia kuna walimu wakuu pia, na wao pia anaweza kutaka pia mwalimu aweze kukaa sehemu ili wale wanafunzi waboreke zaidi, kuliko kubadilisha leo huyu, kesho yule, kesho kutwa yule mwingine. mwalimu anakuwa ana msongo mkubwa sana wa mawazo. Mwalimu akiangalia pengine ametoka sehemu ambayo mazingira yake ni tofauti, kule anakokwenda mazingira pia ni tofauti, na yule anayetolewa kule abadilishwe na huyu, unapata naye pia ataka kukaa kule anakolazimishwa kutoka. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi ningeomba hivi, iwe tu tunaweza kutoa transfer kwa wale ambao wameomba, wametoa maombi maalum kusema kuwa pengine mimi nimeolewa Bungoma, natoka Mombasa, mume wangu yuko Bungoma, pengine naomba nikafanye kazi karibu kule mahali ambako naweza kukaa nitulie nikitengeza familia yangu. Ama kwa mfano pengine mtu anajua ameshajijenga sehemu fulani anataka atulie upande ule, iwe kuna maombi maalum, sio kulazimisha kuwa wewe kwa vile una makosa fulani utaenda transfer huku, kwa vile una shida fulani utaenda transfer kule. Na ikiwa kuna dispute, kuna matatizo yaweze kutatuliwa kabla mtu aweze kutolewa transfer. Si unamlazimisha mtu ende transfer kwa sababu huku nyuma pengine unataka kuficha ushahidi, pengine mwalimu hakukosea, unataka uweke filfinyange tu kuweza kumfrustrate Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi Didmas Baraza na muunga mkono kutoka ndani ya roho yangu, na nasema Mheshimiwa Didmas, yale mambo ambayo unayafanya kule, hebu fanya na unipe siri ya kuingia mahali kisha nikatoka na watu wote. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Very well, member for Njoro.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to support the bill which has been raised here in this parliament by Honorable Barasa in relation with the Employment Amendment Bill. Madam Speaker, allow me to support what our colleagues have said. It is very true in this country. We have seen very innocent Kenyans who have actually been punished when it comes to the issues of transfers. Madam Speaker, as Mheshimiwa Zamzam from Mombasa has said, many employees, that is especially teachers, police officers, KFS officers, and very many other workers in this country. Madam Speaker, the issues of transfers has been purely turned to be a punishment to some Kenyans by some employers. Therefore, today where we stand in this parliament, Madam Speaker, to support Mheshimiwa Barasa on this bill, it is because it's going to bring justice. It will be bringing fairness in this country. And Madam Speaker, to some extent, we have also seen some people people living with disability also suffer in this cause, whereby sometimes you find some people living with disability, they want even justice, but sometimes it's denied or delayed. And even with in relation with this bill, Madam Speaker, I'll also be advising that can we actually propose that even people living with disability, they should be put, especially the places where they prefer. It should be not an option, but it should be done like that. And Madam Speaker, on the same bill, I would be requesting Mheshimiwa Barasa to consider some issues, whereby we have police officers, KFS officers, even some other workers in this country, where they get maybe an accident. Sometimes we have seen even goons in this country where they go during their goonisms. They affect even the lives of our officers, and sometimes they are put in very bad scenarios, and sometimes they become disabled. Madam Speaker, we would request that automatically people living with disability, they should be allowed to work where they come from or their best and their priority preference. Madam Speaker, in this country, teachers, let me talk actually about teachers. I sometimes feel for them. You see, probably a teacher comes from my constituency, which is Njoro constituency. The same teacher is transferred in northern part of Kenya. After some time, when the family still is in Njoro, with very little children, the same teacher is transferred from northern part of Kenya and probably taken again in Coast province. And after some time, the same teacher is also transferred from Mombasa and taken to Kisumu. We have really traumatized families of public servants through these transfers. Therefore, Madam Speaker, let every transfer be of good faith. Let people have human face when they are planning the issues of transfers. And Madam Speaker, I'm supporting. Let it be the request by the people employed, but let it not be dictatorships and the punishment by the employers in this country. Because, Madam Speaker, as we are planning for the future, most of the people also working who are being punished by some employers, their families are really suffering. Therefore, meaning, if our children, like the children seated here today from that school, if their parents are punished and they transferred in different corners of this country, even they are bringing and also making their children's lives more better becomes very hard. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we are standing here to say that this amendment bill is going to bring fairness, it will bring justice, and it will decrease impunity by some employers who are sometimes actually punishing innocent Kenyans. And let me support what our colleagues have said. It's actually a shame that also politicians should not also take advantage to punish some people in their respective constituencies or counties because of the interests of politics. The issues of Kenyans should be totally be excluded from being political issues. Therefore, we demand, we support this bill because we are expecting good things to come out about it, in it, and also because we are expecting, after this employment bill is actually implemented, we are expecting better families, we are expecting very motivated workers in this country, and after motivation, we expect good production because people are motivated to do the right things and at the right place. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this fantastic time to support that classic and a very important bill in this country, and at this time when we are led by His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto. Thank you.
Member for Makwiny.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving this opportunity to add my voice to this amendment. I think the sense of transfers is a human resource management tool, and it's mainly aimed at ensuring that there is equity in use of competencies, and there is also the fact that key competencies and experience are shared within the country, within institutions. And I think the proposer of this amendment has actually looked into it, and what we are discussing now is not that transfers are bad, but the practice of transfers in this country has been found to be wanting, and especially in specific departments. We are specifically thinking mainly within the teaching profession, within administration, within internal administration, and especially the police. And I think the bill proposes that it's important we have standardized ways of having these transfers done so that they serve the intended purpose, Honorable Speaker, and we don't have transfers using for manipulation. And I wish to also put my voice in this because the human resource of this particular country is supposed to make us move forward. Is supposed to add value in whichever area so that the human resource makes this country advance. But when it is used as a tool to punish, a tool to manipulate, a tool to undermine, as have already been said by many honorable members, we actually miss the point. So I think this is a very important amendment. But my challenge has actually been, we have very good bills, very good amendment, but when it comes to implementation, it's always been a challenge. I think as we look at this amendment, we need also to put clearly the enforcement mechanisms, because we can have a very good amendment, but when we go to practice, if the mechanisms for implementing are actually wanting, then we always go back to the status quo. So I think it's very good amendment and I support it, but we need to be very clear on the mechanism of implementation and oversight. Because workers, they can, even if people do wrong, they're supposed to do work and even make mistakes. But mistakes are there so that we build our human resource so that they become better. They are not there to actually punish people. I've seen this happening even within administration. Like this time when we are approaching political season, you see people being transferred left and right so that they go and support other people's agenda. And you look at when that is actually compromised, because every worker must produce benefits that benefit this country. You realize that is actually a misuse. So I hope as we pass this amendment, it will actually help us streamline this particular abuse. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Before I give the next speaker, allow me to recognize in the public gallery students and teachers from PCEA Kagaru Church School from South Imenti constituency, Meru County, and also in the public gallery, Keio South Farmers Association from Keio South, Elgeyo Marakwet County. We welcome them to observe the proceedings of the House. I see the member of Keio South would like to welcome his farmers. Also welcome all the other guests.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa wanafunzi ambao wako hapa, ningependa kuambia mmekuja mahali sheria inaundwa, na uko mbeleni pia na waombea Mungu, mfanye bidii, mfika hapa siku zingine uko mbeleni. Mheshimiwa Spika, miongoni ambao wako kama wageni hapa ni wananchi ambao wanatoka Keio South. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni wale mimi tunaitanga hustlers pale nyumbani. Nataka tu kuambia karibuni bunge, hapa ndio tunakaanga, tutaunda sheria, na inawezekana kila mtu ambaye akona nia anaweza kuja hapa. Mheshimiwa Spika, miaka 20 iliyopita mimi nilikuja hapa kama mgeni kutafuta Mheshimiwa Nicholas Biwott, ndiye anilipia school fees ndio niende shule. Leo ninakaa hapa kama mbunge ya kwamba inawezekana hustlers wote wako pale nyumbani Keio South, Pagulai wangu pale. Karibuni bunge, asante sana.
Unajua Mheshimiwa wa Keio South ama Keio Kusini, ukianza kwa lugha ya Kiswahili kulingana na kanuni za bunge, lazima umalize kwa lugha ya Kiswahili bila kuchanganya. Mbunge wa Marakwet Magharibi.
Honorable Speaker, the honorable member from Keio South has uttered a word that must be struck out from the Hansard. Honorable Speaker, could the honorable member from Keio South tell us what Bakule means in the floor of this House? Honorable Speaker, is he in order to use a challenging word before the floor of this House?
Honorable member for Keio South, did you utter that word, and what does it mean?
Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi sikuwa na nia mbaya kutumia hiyo neno. Ni neno la urafiki pale nyumbani, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na marafiki zangu wamenitembelea, nasema karibuni. Asante
Ninakuelewa, lakini ukitumia maneno ambayo hayaeleweki na kila mtu unaweka alama za nukuu.
Asante, nimesikia Mheshimiwa Spika, asante.
Thank you. Let us have the member Kangogo Bowen.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to contribute into this bill, the Employment Amendment Bill of 2023. And Madam Speaker, I want to start by opposing this bill. I want to oppose this bill, Madam Speaker. I don't know if the honorable members, they have read the implication of this bill, especially, Madam Speaker, to our public service. This bill is going to make the public service ungovernable, Honorable Speaker. That you have employees of government who are not responsible to their superiors, that before you transfer them, you need to seek their consent, Honorable Speaker. Where can that happen, Honorable Speaker? What kind of a civil service, a public service, are we going to have as a country, Honorable Speaker? That if you want to transfer an employee, that is according to Section 4, subsection D of this bill. It reads, Honorable Speaker, where an employee is to be transferred, the employer shall require the consent of the employee before affecting the transfer. Which employee would want it to be transferred maybe to the northern part of the country or to those other side of the country? All employees would want to stay within their homes, within their cities, within their towns, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me give you an example of our military service. That today we have an emergency in the Lamu County or in those northern frontiers of the country. And you want to transfer some officers to give our enforcement to those officers. They wanted to give their consent first. That we cannot go because we have not given our consent. And Madam Speaker, this bill, it will lead to litigation after litigation in our courts by almost all our civil service. This is a very dangerous bill for this country, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, when we talk about an employee, what is the definition of employee in the Employment Act of 2007? That one must come out clear. It doesn't exclude any of our militaries. Honorable Speaker, you have had Kenyans even crying in our roads. Some traffic officers, they are collecting bribes in our roads. And we have seen the head of traffic commander or the police, and then they say, okay, there's been a lot of complaint here. These officers need to be removed, to be transferred from this corner to go to another corner. And then you will find officers tomorrow, they say, no, we were posted here, and we have not given our consent for transfer. We will not go. What kind of a government are we having? What kind of a civil service are we having? Honorable Speaker, the issue of transfer should not be a legislation. It should be a regulation issue. We already have an Employment Act. And there are regulations. We have so many regulations which is governing on how the transfers, how promotions, and even disciplinaries are done in the public service. So, I want to ask my friend, Ditmas Baraza, this bill is not good for our country. It's not good for our civil service. It's not good for our public service. Because already, Honorable Speaker, I want to tell you, Honorable Speaker, as at now, we have so many litigation even for police in the courts, where some police officers, they have been transferred from one station to another, and they have refused. Some of them, they are saying, okay, the IG doesn't have the powers to transfer us because the National Police Service Commission is our employer. You have seen the push and pull between the National Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police. Because of what I can say, it is kind of a lacuna in the law, or maybe. Because also, again, you cannot have an Inspector General who doesn't oversee police officers. So we are trying to, this is what we are trying to cure, Honorable Madam Speaker. So I want to ask the Honorable colleagues, read the bill fast, and you will find that this bill is not good for us. We love our employees, Honorable Speaker. We love our teachers. And we know, I had some of members contributing saying, you know, Teacher Service Commission, sometimes they wake up in the morning, and they transfer a husband or a wife and like separating the family.
What is out of order, member for Tigania West?
Honorable Speaker, I respect the chair of water a lot. He has stood to make his contributions, and it is very surprising that he is reading the bill selectively.
He is?
He is reading the bill selectively. A few clauses and does not read the others. Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Mutunga, you're totally out of order. You also spoke on the floor, and you didn't speak to all the clauses. So allow the member to contribute, unless something is really out of order. It's a point of debate.
And Honorable Chair, my good friend Mutunga, he has not quoted any or in our standing order in which order is
I have already ruled.
So,
Honorable Kangogo.
So, Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, Honorable Speaker.
The member has said nothing so far, since I've given him the floor.
So,
for who? You know, Honorable Mwashako, you've just walked in. I do not want us to derail members who have sat here from 9:30. I will indulge you, but let us not derail members because people have sat here, members have sat here since 9:30.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When I walked in, Madam Speaker, I heard very clearly the Honorable Member, who is the chair of a very good committee, insinuating that members have not read this report. When he said he's going to oppose, he indicated that members have not read. Is it good to cast aspersions to members that we are contributing without reading the report, Madam Speaker?
Very Honorable Mwashako, I think what I heard the member say, because there are also members who are not here, he only urged all of us to read the bill. I don't think it's bad. What did you say, Honorable Kangogo?
Honorable Speaker, I said I want to persuade members to read the bill. To read the bill. Because the bill also, it only seeks to amend one clause of the bill. But I know, honorable members, Honorable Speaker, some members listen what other members are saying, and then you just contribute the bill without me. So, Honorable Speaker.
You are making it worse, Honorable Kangogo.
I have not quoted anybody. So, Honorable Speaker, allow me to conclude to say, Honorable Speaker, we love our workforce. We love our human resource in the country. They are doing a good job for the public service, for the civil service, including our teachers, Honorable Speaker. But we must have a discipline on how these employees transact their business. Having employees to determine when they will be transferred or not, it is not good, it is bad, Madam Speaker, and I want to say I oppose this bill.
There is a point of information from Honorable Didmas. Do you accept it or you're done?
Yes, I accept, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Didmas?
Madam Chair, I want to inform the honorable member that this proposal doesn't seek that those who are being transferred, they have to accept before they are transferred, Madam Speaker. This proposal is simply saying that they must be given a notice period before they are transferred. It happens with the judiciary, Madam Speaker. He has not read, he was not here when I was moving it. Number two, which is very important, we are just saying that transfers must be merited. The reason must be given to the person being transferred. You don't wake up one morning and then you have been transferred to Isiolo. We are saying that when they are transferring, Madam Speaker, they need to be cognizant of the health of the person to be transferred, the family of the person to be transferred, many issues, Madam Speaker. So the honorable member should read properly and understand before he begins to mislead the country.
Honorable members, order members, I also have a copy of this bill. And allow me to just set the record straight. Let me just read it because it's important. Section 4, where an employee is to be transferred, the employer shall, 1, give the employee the reasons for the intended transfer, inform the employee of the implications, notify the employee of the measures, and D, require the consent of the employee. before effecting the transfer. Honorable member, we all have a copy of the bill, and there are many that are on the floor. Let us be factual. Let us be factual in our debates, because our standing orders guide us to do so. Are you done, Honorable Kangogo?
Madam Speaker, this is the point I wanted to, because the Honorable Ditmas is saying there is no part of this bill that seeks the consent. And you have just read, and I quoted, part 4D, you require the consent of the employee before. So which employee would want to go for transfer?
Order, members.
So, Honorable Speaker, I oppose.
It's in your right to actually support or oppose. And I heard what Honorable Didmas is actually telling you, asking what is wrong with what is written. Nothing is wrong, Honorable members. This is a house of debate, and we debate to improve any law so that it is for prosperity. So allow me to give Honorable John Emathe a chance to contribute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Kenya, Honorable Speaker, is one of the countries that is renowned with the best or excellent human resource capital in the world, including the former president of the US, Obama. Honorable Speaker, allow me to support the bill from the onset. Transfers are normally granted either as a carrot or as a stick. And when it is a stick, sometimes it's punitive or sometimes it's used to correct a behavior. But when we dwell so much on the part of the transfer being a carrot, Honorable Speaker, it becomes the pieces of us as a house to understand that employees will always and sometimes will push for better conditions of transfers. For example, Honorable Speaker, when we get to military, and that could be a caveat that we will need to introduce in this amendment, if this bill will also be speaking to the military or those of us who are employees on matters security for this country. So there must be that discussion, because in areas like Turkana, for example, we have our army or we have our police, the GSU, at the borders. We have them in Lokchogyo, we have some in Kibich, we have some in Lokiriama, and all those other places. And they normally work in shifts. And sometimes, Madam Speaker, when you get to understand their way of life or the way in which they carry their service in this country, the conjugal rights are denied automatically. And when they overstay, they even get into the community and maybe get wives, maybe in quotes, in that community. And I want to thank some of the leaders who have been saying, let them keep on working in those areas, even if that is happening. And if they go, what will happen to our security? Number two, Honorable Speaker, I have been able to witness officers who have been recruited into the police, but sent into some of these hardship areas. And some, when they go for an operation, get killed by either bandits or whatsoever. And these are recruits who have just graduated and they have not even been able to earn their first salary. And therefore, when you produce the word consent in the amendment, it needs to be very much looked at. We have to define it. What is the meaning of consent in the amendment, Honorable Speaker? And so, Honorable Speaker, I will not dwell so much into it, but in areas, and I know, Honorable Didmas, you are vying to be a governor for your county, Bungoma. And if this is a preparation for you to understand that maybe staff will be a problem or will be a challenge in you handling them, and that you are giving them a carrot when you want to be the governor for Bungoma, I am telling you
you will receive challenges in terms of staff who are who are unproductive. They will want you to give them a consent of transfer. And if you will not be able to give them a consent of transfer, they will go to the nearest court. And you will be having bills to pay. And therefore, you need to be very careful when such an amendment is provided. But in the same way, governors in some counties, for example, where I come from, a transfer is used as a stick to transfer some of the staff who are not conforming to the ideology or who are not their supporters to areas that don't even have offices. For example, I have staff who have been sent to Aro. I have staff who have been sent to Kapedo or Sukuta. I have staff who have been sent to Kibish, just because they don't support the governor. And I will beseech you, if you get into this office, Honorable Didymus, you will be bombarded with such. And what will be your decision? Staff will be coming to you for consent. And on another wavelength, TSC, the Teacher Service Commission, is not coming in good, at will when transfers are recommended for some staff, maybe on disciplinary grounds. And they will say, we cannot demote them, even when they are perpetual absentees. They will tell you we cannot be able to demote someone who maybe became a principal in some school and later becomes a perpetual absentee or does not even conform to the TSC regulations or laws, will not be granted a transfer immediately. Because the TSC regulation is tying even those who are their supervisors in the offices. And what will you do? Will you still go for a consent? Sometimes it may not be able to come forth. And when you refuse, they will go to the nearest court. So, Madam Speaker, those are the challenges that we need to weigh. If this amendment is going to help us, or it is going to be detrimental as we serve this country called Kenya. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Honorable Timothy.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to comment on this very important bill. First of all, I wish to congratulate the Honorable Didymus Baraza. Honorable Speaker, the people of Kiminini made the right decision by sending this very consequential member of parliament to this honorable house. Honorable Speaker, teachers in this country have faced a myriad of challenges. One of the issues, Honorable Speaker, is in reference to the transfer of teachers. Honorable Speaker, teachers in this country have suffered. Teachers have been transferred haphazardly by the Teachers Service Commission. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, there is need. That is why we are in this house to legislate. If there are gaps in the Teachers Service Commission Act, then it is upon this house to ensure that we go through the TSC Act and propose amendments that are for the best interest of teachers in this country. Honorable Speaker, teachers make presidents. They are the ones who teach us from nursery school. We go to higher institutions and we become members of parliament. And therefore, as a house, we have an obligation to protect the best interest of teachers in this country. Honorable Speaker, in respect to the amendment, transfers ordinarily are carried out by the Teacher Service Commission in respect to teachers. But again, they must have a human face. You cannot just wake up in the morning, transfer a teacher from Nairobi to Mandera or to any corner of this republic without taking their concerns into consideration. Honorable Speaker, health is an issue. Family is an issue. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this very important amendment. Honorable Speaker, there are also other issues that affect teachers. Honorable Speaker, even the issues of terminal leave. Honorable Speaker, as we speak, teachers in this country are the only, they are the civil servants that do not get terminal leave as other civil servants. Those are issues that we must be able to discuss. The issue of pensions. Honorable Speaker, teachers in this country, they retire, some die, without getting their pensions. Why can't we take action as a house to protect the best interest of the teachers? Final, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of consent. That is an issue that we can amend. We cannot throw the baby with the bathwater. If it's an issue, Honorable Speaker, we shall sit down as a house and rectify that particular issue of consent. But insofar as other issues are concerned, Honorable Speaker, we should be able to consider their health, their family, family issues, and other issues that have been mentioned in the bill. Honorable Speaker, I support the bill with amendments. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Teach, there are no amendments on the floor. So you either support the bill as it is and propose amendments at the right time. Yes, that is the one. Order, members. Honorable members, that bill will have a balance of 1 hour, 23 minutes when it's next scheduled. And the time now being 1 p.m., this House stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 12th August 2026 at 2:30 p.m.